All right, guys, this is Mike here with Auto Collision here in Van Nuys. Today we want to talk about PDR, Paintless Dent Removal. I want to show you what that means and what tools they use in their industry. So if you want to know more, stay tuned. All right, guys, so welcome back. Today we're going to talk about PDR, Paintless Dent Removal. So we're going to show you some of the tools that are used in the industry and how they're going to access the side of your panels without actually doing the body repair to repair those panels back to its original state. All right, so usually when you go to a PDR professional, they will actually take your car. Suppose, for example, you have a little dimple on the side of your door, and you don't want us to actually completely do body work on it and repaint the panel, but you also just want it where the PDR will actually massage the dimple from the back side of the panel to remove the dimple and not have to worry about paying that exuberant amount of money in regards to doing a complete body work and paint on the car. What they will first do is they will grab some alcohol. They'll put it in a spray bottle, and what they will do is they will start with actually wiping the surface area. They'll clean it, they'll spray it a little bit, they clean the surface and get it all ready. Then they got a bunch of different nice gadgets that they will use, and there's two ways for them to be able to access that panel. What they'll do is they'll try to see if from the outside they can actually pull the panel, and I'll show you some of the tools that they use and how they do it to get that dimple out. Sometimes if that dimple is stubborn and it can't come out from the outside, I will show you how they're going to actually use the side of the panel and the tools that they use to actually go from the inside back and then massage it out for the dimple to completely go away. One of these interesting gadgets that they use is this weird tool. Well, it's weird for me and you, but for a lot of these PDR professionals, they actually use a regular hot glue gun. Sometimes the glue is a little bit more special than the ones you'd find at standard arts and crafts stores like Michael's or whatever. And what they do is they put a little bit of that glue on these professional tips that they have, depending on the shape and size of the damage to that dimple. They put it on that surface. And what they do here is, suppose if your damage is right here on this mark, they will then put the tip here. Then they will secure those legs to the surface, and they make sure that they adjust the height so therefore that sits flush with these legs to that surface. And what they do is, if this was actually glued down, is when they pull on that handle, as you can see from top, you can actually see as I pull the handle, this pulls the panel out. And guess what? They keep doing that until to a point, and they're professional. They know how far to pull and how many times for that panel to eventually come out straight and smooth. That's one way to do it. I'll show you another one. Here's another tool. This interesting tool is similar to the other one. And what this tool does is similar to what the other one does, is it has a leg. They extend the leg out to this, they put that against the panel, and they slowly tighten it. And as they do tighten it, the panel pulls back to a point where that dimple is almost gone. That's if that dimple can be removed from the outside. Now look at these different types of tips that these guys use. It's incredible how many variety of tips that these guys have. From small to medium to large, extra large, oval. I mean, these tips, these are different size tips depending on the size of the dimple, the size of the dink or the depth that you have on your panel. And these are the type of tips that they use if they were to access the panel from the outside of your car. All right, so here's another interesting gadget they use when they're pulling your panel. Suppose that they put the hot glue on this and they apply that to the surface of the body like this. So if they apply it here, guess what? If the panel needs to be pulled out, they do that, and guess what? They basically push that, and it pulls the panel back and allows the dimple to slowly go away. Again, I'm telling you this, it's not something that's going to happen just once or twice. It's going to take a lot of work back and forth. It's just a dance that they do with that panel. Pull a little, push a little, pull a little, push a little, until you get the panel perfectly straight. So sometimes they use this kind of tool. They use special hammers and mount these little soft tipped panels. These little soft tipped hammers, these hammers, sometimes if they pull the panel, it comes out a little too far out. That's what they use to actually push the panel back in. So it's not always just pulling the panel out. Sometimes they can pull the panel too far out, in which they need to then be able to push the metal back in its space. So, more interesting gadgets. All right, so suppose that they have a panel and they try, or the section where it's damaged, not obviously this, but something that's a little less damaged, that it cannot be repaired from outside. Well, look at these interesting tools that they have. They have long, short, and what these tools do is you can tell they have rounded heads, they have thinner rounded heads, they have flat heads, they have really thick round heads. And what these tools do is, here's the trick. If the dimple's somewhere over here, they actually will drill a small pilot hole somewhere really close to the very corner edge, as long as they are not in the way of any of the locking mechanism to the door. In this case, they'll drill a pilot hole, and they then use this tool, this one. Suppose if it reaches here, they will then go through the pilot hole, and they take the tool on the inside, pretend this is on the inside of the panel, and they will then massage it to the point where the metal is pushed from the inside out, to the point where the dimple will completely fade and disappear. And that's the kind of tools and the tricks that they use. When they're done with the repair, they will then be able to go ahead and put a little plastic plug on the very corner of the door. You would probably never know that it was there. Hey guys, Mike here with AutoA Collision. I hope you enjoyed this video today in regards to PDR, some of the little tips and tricks of the industry. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and more beautiful videos to come to you soon.